everyone, I'm going to help explain our project lesson requirements for today. So you'll be creating snowmans, and the first step is to create your snowman. You want to start with a big circle. Your second circle is going to be a little bit smaller and it's going to overlap your first circle. And your third circle is going to be smaller yet, overlapping your second circle. And then you're just going to erase the lines inside to create your snowman. I already did this on my blue piece of paper. As you can see, I drew the big circle, a smaller circle, and a smaller circle on top, and erased the inside. Now I'm ready to start adding color to my snowman, so that's step one. Step two, you're going to add color to your snowman. I already started adding color, and while you're adding color, I want you to think about a light source. So let's say the moon or the sun was up here in the corner shining down onto the snowman. It would hit the snowballs right here, and it would be a little bit lighter, brighter snow. So I added just a touch of yellow. Be careful, don't add too much yellow. I'm guessing you could imagine what that might look like. So careful of yellow and snow. Over here, I have some blue mixed in with the yellow to create more of a shadow because the sun is hitting the snowman here, casting a shadow over here. It's helping this circle look a little more round like a snowball. I still have to do my bottom circle. So step one, you want to outline your circle with the white oil pastel and then get a base coat on there. And I like to spin my oil pastel like a tornado, filling in that whole area with a nice base coat. If it's hard to draw, you might have to peel away some of this paper so you can continue to use the oil pastel a little bit better. Now I'm ready to add color. And you don't want to add too much color. The trick is to just add a little bit. So it's going to be really dark down here because there's a shadow. Remember, the sun is coming from up above. So I want lots of blue right here. I'm coloring a little dark, and then I'm going to color a little bit lighter into the snowball. There might be a touch of light that hits right here on the edge because the sun is coming from the side. Maybe into the snowman just a little bit. Again, careful with the yellow. You don't want to add too much yellow or get it too dark. My last shadow would be right here where the other snowball is going to cast a little bit of a shadow right there. Once you get your shadow color and highlight color on, start in the middle with your white again. And the first thing you're going to do is blend in your yellow. And you really want to press sort of hard because you want that yellow to disappear and just become a slight tint. Once you blend in your yellow, you're going to blend in the blue. And you're going to do that tornado sort of tip and trick, blend right into the blue, start where it's lightest, and then work toward the darker edges along the outside edge. And that's going to blend it in really nicely and make it look a little more realistic. Again, I was pressing pretty hard during that step. Step three, you're going to layer right on top of this, and that's adding details to your snowman. The cool thing about oil pastel is that you can layer oil on top of oil on top of oil. So now I'm ready for my snowman details. And if I show you the finished product, you can see how I can add details however I like. What kind of hat do you have? What kind of eyes, nose, mouth? Do you have a little, vest or buttons? Maybe a scarf or mittens? This one's missing hands, but we can add that later as well. Where this one has earmuffs. And this one has a Santa hat. So you can get as creative as you want. So if I want to add a hat, my favorite color is green. I'm just going to take an oil pastel, and feel free to use your pencil first if you want to. Add your hat, and you can see I'm overlapping part of the snow ball up top because I want that hat to look like it's actually on the snowball. I'm going to have it be a long hat with a little pom-pom at the end. Add the little pom-pom. Maybe it has a little bit of color in it. And before I start adding color to the hat, again, I'm gonna think about my light source. It's coming from over here. So this side has to be lighter and this side has to be a little bit darker. So if I wanna use green, I might use the light green and the yellow to help out. I'm gonna start a little bit lighter on this side with some yellow. Go to the light green, blend it in, and oil pastels are so nice for blending. And you can see it's just going right over that white and sort of blending in itself. You can also use white for a little bit of sun action. Just blend it into your color a little bit. And now I'm gonna get really dark on this side because that's where the shadow is. A cool tip, instead of adding black for a shadow, you can use the opposite color on the color wheel. So red is opposite of green. And if I add a little bit of red and blend that in, they sort of cancel each other out and it makes a really nice shadow. So those of you who are looking for a challenge, try using that as a cool tip to help you out. The face, you might want to use black. It really shows up well. I'm going to do the classic buttons and rocks for the mouth. Maybe add a little highlight to the eye for the button. And then the nose, I'm going to do the classic carrot. And again, if you want to add highlights to the nose and stuff, feel free. But for the demo, I'm just going to skip that for now. Now you guys are ready for the final step, and that's to add color to the background. You can, before I get there, you can add more like a scarf, a vest. Feel free to get creative. I'm just going to keep going for time purposes. So step 4 is to draw a landscape. So I'm going to take these steps off now that you know what to do. As a reminder, step 4, you're drawing the landscape. And I want you to have a foreground, middle ground, and background. Foreground, I would suggest drawing like a hill of snow by the snowman. The snowman is already in the foreground, so you don't have to add anything in the foreground since the snowman is there. Middle ground is a little further away. I'm going to add 2 more hills of snow. And in the middle ground, I would like you to add one object. Maybe a pine tree, or a Christmas tree, or a sled. Make it simple. You don't want the background to be distracting for your snowman. After your middle ground, go ahead and draw the background. This is further away, so my hills might be smaller, full of snow. And somewhere on the background, I want you to draw another object, except this time it has to be a little bit smaller because it's further away. Of course, you can draw more than one object, but for time purposes, I'm only going to draw one. Once you have it drawn out, the very last step for today is to add color to your landscape. And while you add color to your landscape, think of that light source and where it's coming from, and use the tips I showed you in here to blend colors dark to light to really capture that sun, the moon, whatever your light source is. So for the snow, you're basically repeating these steps. Again, start with that base coat, and it's okay if you start in your middle ground or background. It doesn't really matter. I'm just starting in all my grounds, adding that white color. And I'm working fast. I would like you to take your time. I just want to get through the demo so you have lots of work time in class today. The light is coming this way. Maybe I add a touch of yellow. If the northern lights are out, maybe I add a little bit of color into the snow. So a little bit of yellow in the touch of the top of the hills of snow, and some blue down below where the sun isn't really getting to. And I would have lots of blue down here, especially on this side where the snowman would have a shadow. I'd want to make that really dark. And then again, go back to your white and blend it in. I always start with the lightest color first, and then go into the dark color, blending it in until it looks good. Just some tips for the sky. You can add snow to the sky. Maybe it's actually snowing. You can add northern lights. Is it dark? Is the sun out? Sort of think about what kind of weather you want for the sky. Before I get to the sky, I'm just going to show you one of my trees too. I like to start with a base coat, maybe a darker green, and then again, just add some highlights to that tree, maybe with a little bit of white. Sometimes I've seen kids add lots of white to the tree, like it looked like it was snowing. That's pretty cool. Just sort of blend it in. So it looks like it has a nice highlight from the sun. And this is far away, so it looks like a blob, and that's okay. I'm going to go to my final artwork and show you some examples of how I finished up the sky. So this one, I didn't color in the whole background. I mixed colors. It was more like a sunset going into the nighttime, and I have some stars in the sky that are glowing with yellow, and you can see how the snow is like really orange because of the sunset. The next artwork, I was trying to go for a really windy day. So again, I didn't color in the background. I used the blue paper as the background, and I did lots of texture with the oil pastel to make it look windy. I did really dark shadows, and it got a little bit too dark because I was using black. I don't really like this look. I tend to like it a little more soft, like this look. It's up to you guys, though, what you want to create. This example, the student tried really hard, but they had a hard time blending. So don't get frustrated if it's not going well for you. Just work with blending and those skills. You're learning, and it's okay if it's not looking exactly how you want. This student, I like how they expressed a lot in the sky, and they did a really good job blending. However, the sun is over here and the shadow's here. This should be flip-flopped. This student did a great job with pretty much everything. They really got the skills and blending techniques of the lesson. This one got a little advanced in the background. They were focusing too much on the background and didn't have time to finish. So make sure you focus on the snowman. And this one is just another one of my examples. You can see how it really looks like the snowman's glowing. I was trying to make it look like the light source was coming from a house over here, like a spotlight. So light and color blending can do a lot. I want to thank you for listening to this demo, and I know it's a lot to take in, but just remember, try to go step by step, follow the instructions at your table. That will help you remember the 5 steps that we had today. And I can't wait to see what your snowmans turn out like. Don't forget arms if you want. See you guys next week.